Growing happy and healthy quail is honestly not that hard. We use a commercial feed, and today I'm going to be talking all about how to pick out the best commercial feed in order to grow happy and healthy quail. But you can also choose to mix your own quail feed. That does require a lot more research, figuring out the types of vitamins, minerals, and other essential items that you're going to need in order to really get everything that a quail needs to get it from hatching to adult age to laying a good egg like these ones. We use a good commercial feed, and it's important to actually look at the back of the feed and make sure that there's a few essential items that you're looking for when you're deciding on which type of feed that you're going to use. And the first thing that you're going to want to look for is the type of feed. So we actually always use a crumble, and you're really going to want to make sure that you do use a crumble every time that you are purchasing quail feed. And this is because quail are obviously just a lot smaller than, say, your chicken, which can have more of a pellet. And with the crumble, you won't actually need to have any grit added to your feed like you would for, say, chicken feed, because they're able to more easily digest that crumble. And even when they are a little baby quail, they will be able to eat that crumble. You don't have to grind it even more for them unless you're finding that there's just really large pieces of the crumble. But for the most part, if you're getting a starter type feed like this one right here from NatureServe, which is what we use, then you're gonna find that you can just kind of use it from there and start to feed your quail from starter age all the way up to adulthood. Now, what you're gonna wanna look for when you are buying feed is you're gonna wanna get a game bird or even just a turkey feed. We use game bird starter feed, and what I really like about this is it does have all of the essentials that your quail are going to need. And the main things that you're really gonna wanna think about when you're picking out your feed are going to be protein and calcium. So this is really similar to chickens as well, and we like to feed our quail a pretty high protein. So in this NatureServe, which is what we actually feed ours, there's about a 28% protein, and really anything that's over 25% protein is going to be perfect for your quail. That's what I really like to shoot for in our diets. Now, I've definitely heard of other people raising quail, and you can do something that is a bit lower as they start to mature. Really anything above 20% is going to be pretty good, and you can test it out with your quail and kind of see what makes them lay the best eggs and makes them the happiest and healthiest. But we do stick with a pretty high protein diet for our quail. Another essential item that you're going to need into your quail feed that you're going to want to be looking for is calcium. Now, calcium is what's going to help create the hardness of the shell and really help them produce a good amount of eggs. Now, as you're looking for something with calcium, you also don't want to go over the edge and get something that's too high. So you want to kind of stay in around 1.5 to 2.5% calcium. Anything too high is going to be overkill of calcium. So really anything over 3% is going to be just too much calcium. So really stick between that 1.5 to 2.5 sweet spots, and check on your eggs and kind of see what your quail actually need. So here are some of our quail eggs, and you can see that they have pretty hard shells. Sometimes what you'll notice is there will either be really no shell or just a soft membrane around the shell, and this can be frightening. At times you're like, uh-oh, they don't have all the nutrients that they need. But as long as that's only happening at the beginning of the season or very rarely, you really don't have to worry about it too much unless it's something that's just reoccurring all of the time. And those are my guineas. My husband is actually filling the garden and they are squawking a bunch. So we'll give them a little bit of time, cool down. But yeah, so if there is one or two soft shells in the patch, but it's not something that's reoccurring, you don't really have to worry about it too much. You more just want to check and see what's the longevity look like, and you just want to make sure that you're getting a pretty decently hard shell. As you can see, I smush them together and nothing happened to them, but not something that's too hard, because especially if you're choosing to breed out your quail or hatch out your quail, if you are doing too high of a calcium diet, then they won't actually be able to get out of the shell, and it just could cause some issues with your quail flock. Now, here at our homestead, I did mention that we use NatureServe, but there are a bunch of different brands of game bird, turkey feed that you can use for quail. We usually like to have ours on the starter, and we will just keep that on them for their entire life, because we do harvest a lot of our quail and put them into freezer camp. But if you are growing out your quail for a longevity, you might want to switch it to more of an adult type feed or a layer feed at some point, which may be lower in protein. And you can definitely go ahead, check all of the different brands that are at your local feed. I'll include the link of the NatureServe feed that we use below, and really think about what you want to have your quail on. You can also add different types of varieties to your quail diet. So having your quail outside in a cage where bugs and little such things can get into the cage area is really great, because they're gonna love to eat some of those little buggies that come in, fly in, and get into their cage. And you can also give them little treats throughout the day, anything from cuttings from your vegetable garden to scraps from your kitchen, as well as mealworms. And I suggest giving these as more of treats to your birds, just because they do have a complex diet, complex needs that they need in order to produce eggs and just live a healthy, happy lifestyle. So really think about that as you're deciding on the food and how you want to create their diet. But I did create another video that talks a little bit about different types of food, not including commercial feed, that you can feed your quail, and I'm going to put it up over here so you can check that out next, and we'll see you guys again next time. Bye!